Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the notes on graphing exponential functions from a table of values. At the end of this, you should be able to say, I can create a table of values and hence graph an exponential function. So let's do this. Let's just take a look at an example and away we go. Example, consider the exponential function y equals 3 to the x minus 2. Complete the table of values, and then we'll look at these other things here. Okay, so -3. So that means we're going to plug in -3 for this x, right? So we've got y equals 3 to the -3rd minus 2, right? So really that's 1 over 3 cubed minus 2. So you know what? We can probably just put these into the calculator. Now, actually, I'm going to show you something that's actually going to save you a fair amount of time if you happen to have a graphing calculator, or you can use your use a graphing calculator app of some sort. If I go into y equals, I'm going to actually put 3, just like it says here, 3 to the x power, and then minus 2. Okay. Graph, and I'm not really even worried about the graph, but it's kind of interesting to see what the graph looks like. So there's what our graph looks like. But now what I'm interested in is the table. So I'm going to go, actually I'm first going to go into table set. So I'm going to do second window. Table start at 1, and then this little triangle table means it's going to change by values of 1. So everything looks fine there, basically. So normally you can just go straight to second graph, and it'll pull up this table. Now it says 1 is 1, 2 is 7, 3 is 25, so forth and so on. And we should be able to scroll up and go all the way back to -3, which is what we want. So we get -1.963. Let's go with -1.96. And then the next one is -1.889, so -1.89, -1.89, not 4, but 9. And then -1 is -1.67. And to the 0 power is -1, because that turns into 1 minus 2 is -1. The positive ones would be pretty easy to do without, but since we already have it on the calculator, we might as well use those, right? To the first power is 1, 7, and then 25. So we got 1, 7, 25. Okay, and so now we're going to graph this thing. So let's see, this has got to go all the way up to 25. You know what? I'm just going to leave it as it is, and we're just going to kind of guesstimate as to where it's going to be, just because these values over here are so small and have such a small difference between all of them. So at -3, we're at -1.96, so just about -2. And at -2, we're at 1.89, just barely above that. -1, we're at 1.67, a little farther above that. 0 is at -1. 1 is at +1. 2 is at 7. So you can see it's kind of coming in here flat, and then it goes up really quick. And then at 3, it's way up at 25. So it's like way off the screen up there. So we'll just kind of use those there. So use your table of values to draw the graph. So it means we know over here it's going to be, actually, this is going to get really, really close to -2, but we'll never actually get down to -2. So we're actually going to start up here. Almost looks like a flat graph, and then it just starts taking off here. Ooh, that is just terrible, isn't it? That's a terrible part of the graph there. Let me see if I can get this on my tablet thing. Close enough. You get the idea, right? And then back here, we actually, look, there's our graph, and you can see it kind of really pretty flat on right up above -2, and then it just starts taking off. Okay, so that's roughly what our graph looks like. Use your table values to draw the graph. Y equals 3 to the x minus 2. So we did that. Okay. Okay, so we've done A, we've done B. Is the graph increasing or decreasing? So when they're asking increasing and decreasing, it's always as you go left to right. So it's just like reading a book. So if you start on the left, as you're moving right, what's happening to it? It's increasing. So left to right, it is increasing. Okay. Got a couple more to do, but before we do that, let's take a quick little comedy break, shall we? All right, I'm not able to access my videos right now, so we'll have to get one on the next one. Sorry. Let's see, we've done C. D. As x is approaching infinity, y is approaching what? So basically, here's what you want to do. Start right here, say at 0, and say as x is getting bigger and bigger. So what's happening to y as x is getting bigger and bigger? So as x is getting bigger and bigger, y is going towards positive infinity because it's going up really fast. Okay? So again, starting at 0, 0, as x is going towards negative infinity, so as we're going this way, what is the y getting closer and closer to? And in this case here, it's going to be getting closer and closer to -2. Okay? Find the horizontal asymptote. Well, look, here is our horizontal asymptote. Asymptote is like a line that the graph gets closer and closer to but never actually hits. So like pretend that that's below right there at -2. That's our asymptote. Asymptote is usually denoted by a dotted line there. So find the horizontal asymptote everywhere along this line. Y equals 2, so it's y equals 2. The way that I always remember that is I look at this line here. What axis does it cross? Crosses the y-axis, so it's going to be y equals -2. And another way to look at that is, like, say this point here is 0, -2. That's 1, -2, 2, -2, 3, -2. Everything on this line is where y equals -2. Okay? Okay, that's all there is for graphing exponential functions from a table of values. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks.